Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'm going to quickly say hi to Cindy and Stardust and Geertrue and Carmen and Candyman. And I said hi to everybody. So good morning, everybody, and peace. And welcome to Not Church. If you're new here, double welcome. No dogma, no doctrine, no Bravo Sierra, and no glasses. Where are they? No Bravo Sierra. Mysticism and chat conversation. Christmas was just last week. Oh, dear me. Yeah, trouble with the teleprompter today. I forgot a setting. So we're going to give this the best chance we have here by doing this. There we go. Wow. We're going to use this down here. Hey, I'm going with this way. We're starting over. Pretty close to it. Peace and love, everybody. Catch my breath here. Christmas was a week ago, and today we're talking about the second coming, and it's us, and it's here already. Near-death experience, science, light, and love. The incarnation of Christ as the baby Jesus was just a week ago. And you're also the incarnation of Christ consciousness. On Christmas Day, during Christmas week, every day of the year that you breathe. Christmas Day and the symbolic myths that were constructed around it, and the birth narrative in Matthew and Luke, they set the stage for an understanding of the baby who grew into the transfigured man, a high-intensity light, the lumen infinitum, a man who, like you and me, can live into our awakening, as we see in the Gospel of Mark. And I want to thank Adyashanti for his book, Resurrecting Jesus, where that's covered. The resurrection of the enlightened Jesus proved to his peers that death is not the end. Death is not darkness, only dark to us. Death is opening into the light in a full, sudden, and unexpected evolution of your soul. This is what the birth, death, and resurrection of Jesus teaches us. The higher frequency of the light of heaven awaits us above the darkness of the veils. Believe me? Or believe the tens of millions of us around the world who've also risen from the dead, principally due to medical science. Jesus taught love and light. You are, he said, the light of the world. Matthew 5:14. I'm called Peter Panagore. I speak mysticism in a Christian accent with a Christian languaged tongue. My Jewish friends, they say I sound Jewish. Muslim commentators on YouTube, they say I sound Muslim. In prayer, I am a listener. Listen to the light inside yourself. Let's take a moment for centering together into a community of light. When you make your eye single, your body will be filled with light. Where two or more are gathered, I am there, said the Christ consciousness in Jesus. Attune yourself to the highest frequency of luminous energy, who is, was, and will be ineffable and experiential. And if you're new, Pick a single word, such as love or light, and repeat the word inside your thoughts, writing your prayer chant on your breath. Look at the links below, nodding my head because my hands are full today. Look at the links below for the centering prayer links that'll help you understand how to do this. We begin with 3 ohms and then settle into our breath and our inward chant. All right. So let's begin our centering practice. And I'm going to say hi to folks again. Carmen, Susie, Jonathan, Mountain Rain, Kendall. I don't want to miss anybody. So I'm going to stop right there. All right. We use 3 ohms and then we go into our prayer practice. The second coming is us. And is already here. Science, near-death experience, love and light. One world, one planet, one heart, one love, one people, one humanity. Science shows that love is the second most common word near-death experiencers use. Love amounted to 57% of the 476 NDERs, and the survey of information gathered from the Near-Death Experience Research Foundation, NearDeath, with their thousands of near-death experience essays available free to the public. And all the links I'm going to talk about right now, they're all down below in the description, right down there. Before sunup today, I remembered to put them there. In the survey, we learned that the most popular word among NDEers is light. The second is love. The first is light. Dr. Jeffrey Long wrote an essay titled Evidence for Survival of Consciousness and Near-Death Experiences, Decades of Science and New Insights, is where I learned about the popularity of the 2 words light and love. I had long hoped it was so. Part of the reason I started Mystic TEA Salon, live on Zoom following Not Church at the top of the next hour, was to begin to learn if this was so. I too chose the words light and love, dominating love for me, light a close second, and beauty tied for second. Light and love, I chose those myself long ago, long before I'd ever come out of the near-death experience closet. The words arose inside me. Was this true? Is this true of others? I wondered. That's why I started Mystic Tea, partly to hear the words near-death experiencers use. It's true. Dr. Jeffrey Long's essay is among the $1 million in total prize money recently awarded to 29 essayists, including Dr. Long. Links below. Dr. Pim van Lommel, who I've mentioned here before, whose talk I heard live at an International Association for Near-Death Studies conference years ago, largely contributed to what I'm going to say today. And I'm going to take a moment here to invite you to this year's conference in Salt Lake City on the first weekend in September, hopefully live and in person, where I hope to hear new scientific research, see my near-death experience friends and you all coming, meet new people, hear inspiring talks, and serve as this year's Master of Ceremony. Love and light are the most common words used to describe the indescribable. Metaphor, my friends, what we always talk about here. Those words come the closest for those of us who've been blessed and feel sometimes like it's a curse. Those of us who've been blessed to have been in the presence, to have seen the isness, which was also seen and described in a similar way centuries ago as the infinite light by Saint Gregory of Nyssa. The infinite light. There are tens of millions of transformed human beings, a light with the luminous, having died and come back to talk about it. Take time to listen to as many near-death experience stories as you can and see for yourself. You don't have to believe me. I'm not asking you to believe me. We NDEers are finally speaking up in greater and greater numbers all over the world, and we're talking to each other. You've heard me say this before. We're forming a global web of light. Each one of us, on our own, connected directly to Source. And each one of us connected to each other ethereally through the divine oneness and practically across languages, religions, nationalities, and cultures. I speak mysticism with a Christian accent. My NDE friend in London speaks it with a Hindu accent. My friend in Israel, she says it with a Jewish accent. All of us speak with a tongue of light when we take the time to empty ourselves to be inside the light. Take care, my friends, to listen with a humble heart. To listen with a humble heart for the voice of humility and love. Beware of spiritual pride, even among the NDE community, because the ego loves itself. Didn't you just see that? The ego is not completely lost in the practice of centering self. Attachment to it is. From the divine light of love within me, which is not mine, I see that each NDEer is sent back from heaven and is individually connected directly to the fiber optic cable. I see their luminosity. I see luminosity everywhere I go, but there it is a wave of strength that comes from many NDEers. This light cable can be nurtured and grown because it is a living thing. Just like the grapevine metaphor that Jesus used, that was bringing the nutrients of heaven to the juicy, ripening fruit of life. This lamp, if nurtured, will grow light inside you, as it has for me. I've transformed in these 40 years. How? Why? Why is easy. Called by God. How? Practice of silence. I've nurtured it for 40 years, and I know the illuminative power of listening prayer inside the silence of darkness. This light bulb is innately inside everyone, everywhere, all the time, inborn. Your soul, it is. Your consciousness, it is. Directly connected, yes, obscured, and looking so often like darkness does here. Behind the darkness is lumen infinitum. Lumen infinitum. Infinite light. This NDE movement, this near-death experience, global phenomena, is a new thing under the sun, and it's driving a new spirituality globally, and it has been for 60 years. You've been waiting for the second coming. It's already here. It's new because the science of resurrection, of resuscitation is new. Science has been raising the dead daily around the world. A conspiracy with God? Maybe. I don't know. But certainly true. Evidentially so. Evidentially so. New near-death experiencers are being reborn in your town, in your city, among your friends, and your family. Near-death experience is an ancient experience among all human beings, because there have always been near-death experiences, probably ever since or before even hominids first evolved. Did the dinosaurs have near-death experiences? I don't know, but humans have. The Bible has maybe 9 resuscitations, resurrections, rebirths, call back from death. 9, 3 in the Jewish scriptures, 3 in the Gospels, and 3 more. The point is that never before in the millions of the years of evolutionary history of humanity has there ever been an international and ever increasing presence of the heavenly light living among us. Think about that. Think about it. Feel it inside yourself. Feel this connectivity. You don't need a near-death experience to feel the connectivity, because in every mystical experience that every single human ever has, there is light and love, and that's how you know it's real. If you have to ask, then it wasn't transformative. You know it when it speaks to you, self-evidently so in love and light. The so-called second coming, it's us. That's the message that Jesus was trying to tell us. It's here. It's now. Love and light, international, without borders or boundaries, and just in the nick of time. Near-death experience is not a thing in the past for me. Yes, it happened a long time ago, the first, and not so many years ago, the second, but it's a present thing. It's a living thing, a thing that is not a thing at all. We call it love. We call it light. It is living, flowing, present among, between, and within. This is heaven realized. This is heaven present. This is heaven now. Channel it. Be a channel of heaven. Become a channel of heaven for your own salvation. Open your own heart up to the divine presence. Thank you, Chad, for the super chat. I hope to get to your question. Open yourself to the divine presence among, between, and within. This is heaven realized. Inside of tens of millions of near-death experiencers, this realization is alive by many names. We choose love and light as our words. So many of us. It's filtered through each one of us because we are human and fleshed, incarnate with brains and feelers and seers and hearers. What I know is that through striving with my mind, I carve a place, a bigger and bigger place inside myself, in silence, for the light to shine in me, that it might also shine a little in you. Maybe you can see mine as I see yours. And when we share this together, it's so much bigger than the two of us. I want to be a lamp, bigger and bigger, not of me, but of you. The second coming was here, made inside the entire universe all along. It's always been here. This divine essence of love that pervades everything underneath the light, under the darkness, it's always been here. No darkness because if without the light. The universe emanates from the light itself, the manifested from the unmanifested, the limited from the unlimited. The second coming has been here all along. It just needed vessels. It needed channelers. It has them now on earth by the tens of millions and the hundreds of millions of near-death of mystical experiencers like yourself who've always existed in the world. The death and the rising of Jesus was an example to us that heaven is real with a capital R, that life continues after death, that hope with a capital H is real with a capital R, that light and love are real, and that it's not just pie in the sky when you die. It's real and it's here now among us. We are channeling it in live time. That's what this is. What we have, what we actually have wanted is happening right now. The long expected return is in great force, in great numbers. Christ consciousness, supreme energy, love divine, whatever the word is, this thing ineffable, communicative, transferable, transportive. It's in us, all of us, all seekers of wisdom, light, and love, all mystical experiencers. All my life, and ever since St. Paul and the West, people have expected an apocalypse, the long-awaited time when goodness finally triumphs over selfishness, over darkness in the world. Light defeating darkness, love defeating hate and fear. Marjorie Woollacott at the International Association for Near-Death Studies 2001 conference, which I've cited before, cited data showing that 45% of a survey group said that of maybe 350 people who had an after-death communication with a loved one, 45%. Maybe you, mystical experience transformed your grief. You are a light carrier. You are a love carrier. including all these people who've had out-of-body experiences, angels, visitations, deity visitations, and the like, if love and light visited you, or if you desire this with the whole of your heart, you're part of this web. Near-death experience is one type of mystical experience. It's not the only type. It's a shockingly powerful type. It's an outspoken type. It wants me to speak and open my mouth. I didn't want to. Here I am. This is my prayer for earth. From Matthew 6:10. Manifest your heavenly realm here and now. Cause your every purpose to be fulfilled on earth in us, just as it is now in heaven. Manifest your heavenly realm here and now. Cause your every purpose to be fulfilled on earth in us, just as it is now in heaven. The Lord's Prayer, rewritten, the Passion Translation. Manifest yourself here through us now. That is the prayer of listening. Now in heaven. Be in heaven now, right here, right now. When I first came back from death, I felt disconnected from the indescribable real. I learned to reconnect, to deepen and widen and open. Reconnect. Someone at a workshop last Saturday asked me if I use energy for healing. And yes, I do. I am an energy healer. The energy healing I want to bring is the healing of the world. Manifest heaven where you are, with us, all together. What is this healing? Bringing heaven here now. The light workers, the light bringers, we are a dominant number globally and always have been. We've been repressed and silenced. Speak not for yourself. Speak of the light and love. I don't brag about myself, said Paul. I brag about the light. Seek inside. And like I said, I don't ask you to believe me. I ask you to seek, empty, and find. Because together, when we gather, the radiant light strengthens all of those who open their hearts to share. 1 + 1 = 3. The I am always is. We are the second coming. It is in our hearts. It is a new thing under the sun. The age of Aquarius, the Hopi prophecies, whatever metaphor suits you. The I am always is. Maybe in the 21st century, during this coming time of major upheaval, science is telling us it's coming, and it is, and it's already here. Maybe we can nudge the entire world together, because there's going to keep coming more NDERs, more NDERs, more NDERs. Our voice is going to grow. And I think so. I think we can give it a nudge. This movement is sourced in the light. It's sourced in the light. It's crowd-sourced. That's its strength. Sorry about the bumpy beginning. Don't know what my setting was. It all started working. So thanks for lending me your ear today and sticking with me while I stumbled through the beginning. If not church is healing for you, if you understand what I'm saying, if you found inspiration or hope here, or a new idea here, or an understanding of your own experience, or been touched by the divine in light and love, then please sign up to give a little bit a month. Everybody kicking in will keep this thing going. I thank you for that. On Wednesdays, we have live centering prayer practice. And I'm going to come back to that question, Chad. First thing, I'm going to skim down here and skim up, I guess, find that question. And I'm available by appointment. All my links are at peterpanagore.love. All of today's links are below. And those papers from that $1 million thing that happened, that award that was awards that were given to essays, they're worth taking a look at. Just letting you know. I want to thank you for your support at the top of the hour. That's -5 GMT at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us for a connected, continued, and deep exploration and conversation at Mystic TEA Salon, live on Zoom, link below. The only rule we have is humility. So come lurk. If not church is your church, then please like and subscribe. And thanks. And lastly, next week, near personal apocalypse, near-death experience and a verse from the book of Revelation by request. Today's was by request. So now I'm going to go over to the chat and see what's going on over there. And I'm going to see if I can skim back to Chad. And thank you for the super chat. I see another super chat. Vicky, thank you. And Betty, thank you. And Chad, as you listen in prayer, how often do you receive direction from the Spirit? How does it feel to you to hear a word? So someone asked Rumi, why do you talk so much about silence? And he replied something like, because the divine never says a word, something like that. I don't hear words. I know that some people do, but I don't. I hear light. I hear love. I hear the roar of the eternal. I hear the vibration of heaven. I hear the sensation in my palms and in my feet and in my belly and in all of my chakras. I feel this vibration bigger than myself. It's like music. It's like a stream. It's like the direction that I receive is an action toward the light itself. I'm not really always, I search in my life to try to find my slipper, which is what I'm trying to find with my foot right now. But like that, when I'm searching around in the dark trying to find my slipper because I couldn't see it beneath the table, I'm not looking to find a place to put my foot into in life. I'm looking for a place to put my heart. The direction that I receive isn't so much left or right. It's love and light. The direction of my life, it comes first and foremost from the angle of my soul, from the trajectory of my consciousness. I keep that aligned. I know that's not necessarily what you wanted to hear. I use my intuition. I feel of something. I do my research. I'm meticulous about my thinking. But I feel of it. And I lean into the light and into the love. And sometimes, there's only two bad choices. This bad choice or that bad choice. even in that circumstance, where I have to choose one bad over the other bad, I try to lean into the light. Part of that grew out of all of it, grew out of the realization that my aim is not earthly. My aim is heavenly. But how does that help in practicality? It seems to work itself out pretty well. The doors that are meant to open, open, and the doors that aren't either close in my face and bloody my nose, or I can never find them in the first place, or they just don't open. I don't know if that's what you were looking for, Chad, but I'm not looking for language coming from the silence. I listen for the whisper of the presence of the divine, not for the voice of the divine. That comes if it comes. But I also hear my name being called, my soul name, always. I'm being called home. That's the call. That's the voice. To me, come to me. To me, come to me. Again and again. That's what I hear. So that's what I do. Whoa. Thanks for sticking with me through that bumpy beginning, everybody. Thank you, Amy. I'm going to go back, I guess, I'll start at Chad, see what's going on in the chat here. Thanks for asking, Chad. Hi, everybody. I'd love to, I don't want to miss anybody's name because I learned that once you start, if you miss somebody, they hurt somebody else. So I'm going to just say hi to folks, everybody. Hi, everybody, who I didn't say hi to earlier. I see your names here and say thank you for saying hi to me. Oh my, we have a Russian here, but I don't, giving up some sort of site. I'm going to ask the moderator to take a look at that. I don't know what that is. Looks like a link to me. I guess I don't like it there. No offense. I'm going to remove it. Sorry. Hi, light workers. You're welcome. You're a lamp, Peter. Well, so here's the thing. This is really what I wanted to say, get up the point I want to get across today, is that there are tens of millions of lamps in the world right now. Hundreds of millions. More if you count everybody who's not died and come back. But among those who've had the drastic and shocking, life-disrupting, and permanently changing near-death experience, there's millions of us. And that is so powerful. Tens of millions of us. And yes, I want to be a light in the world. That is my call. That's my job. That's what I'm trying to do. And have been for 40 years. But I'm not alone. You're one too. This is the power of it. It's everywhere at once. But thank you. Tim, very reassuring. Great. I am a light carrier. You are as above, so below. That's what I'm saying. As above, so below, says JD. You are a capacitor, a transistor, a sacred transistor, a capacitor. Oh, thanks. How shocking. The same today. I just listened to Through Story on the history of Tesla and Edison's. It's a podcast. History of Edison and Tesla's competition for AC and DC. Just finished it just before this, just this morning, early. Let's see. Questions. I want to see what's going on. We are sacred transistors and capacitors for sure. Consciousness, the being of the divine, Holy Spirit, and the action of the divine. In the Western spiritual religious world, there is most of the focus on Christ consciousness, less on the divine energy. Yes, it's true. uh, Gear true. I'm not sure that there's a difference between them, except for in the minds of the theologians who discuss them. But in the experience of the mystics who have them, there's not a whole heck of a lot of difference. I don't. It's the expression of it that gets all twisted up inside our religious language, but it's all good. The divine energy and the Christ consciousness. I'm trying to break some of that Christian language up a little bit, massage it, massage the knots out of it. Totalitarianism will try to snuff out the light, getting rough out there. Oh, it is, JD. Yep. We need to keep our hearts in the oneness of love. Charlie, I found that scientific research showing that over 70% of the people who dream about their deceased loved ones find the experience healing. I'm using this in my counseling work now. 70% of those who dream about their deceased loved ones find it healing. 45% of the general population have those experiences, and 70% express it as healing, which is love and light. You're welcome, Ronell. Thanks, Vicky. Powerful, you say. Sean at Charlie, that was definitely true for me, says Sean to Charlie. After I lost my brother in a car train accident, my condolences, Sean. I'm glad that he came back to you and it was healing. That's fabulous. That's what we're talking about. Maybe that's one of the reasons you're here. We are spiritually connected. Too many think they need a church to do so. That is not the case. No, it is not. It is not the case. That's one of the reasons why I wasn't sure I was ever really meant to be a church pastor because, like, you don't need a church. You don't need one. You got a temple right here. This is where your guru is. Your guru is the great guru, God, the divine, the unmanifested, the light, whatever you want to, whatever language, right? Everybody's got it inside themselves. If only they look and keep looking. Got to keep seeking. It's infinite, okay? So there's always more to find. Is the second coming synonymous with the prophecy of the new earth, where the earth and the inhabitants are undergoing a shift wherein the spiritual dimension will merge with the physical? I think so. At least I can say this with assurance and more than assurance, with certitude. That's what happened to me. That's what happened to me. I've undergone a spiritual shift that's merged my dimensions. That's what I came back without. That's what I've sought for my whole life. That's what I live inside now. When I say bring heaven here now, I mean it impacts things around me. It doesn't always help me make a choice, left or right, but it's always here. And my focus changes so that I'm always with it. And if all of us, if we can do this together, the whole thing changes. Where 2 or 3 are gathered, I am there. This is not addition, this is multiplication. Or it's not 1 plus 1 equals 2, it's 3 times 3 equals 9. No, that's not right either. It's geometric. It expands like a fractal expanding. 1 plus 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals 3. The more of us that do this, the more of us that are here now, channeling light, the more heaven is present in the entire world. So yes, under where the earth and its inhabitants are undergoing, many of the earth inhabitants have undergone and are undergoing a shift wherein the spiritual dimension, metaphysical, heaven, call it what you will, love and light, wherein a shift in the spiritual dimension merges with the physical world. I'm living in that place. I'm living, that's, and I know I had a jump start, okay? And I know I've spent my life in pursuit. And I know that's unusual, but I live there. And I came back with it anyway. It leaves a message inside yourself. Every mystical experience leaves wisdom inside yourself, light and love, healing and understanding. That's all you need. That's it. That's the new dimension. That's the physical and the dimensional and the metaphysical joining in you. That is the thing. It's already here, but it's growing. It's getting bigger, more powerful, more present. So, yeah, Nathaniel, new Earth. The planet won't change. We will. We will. We have an opportunity in the 21st century, and we are going to get pushback. But there's an army of us, an international nation of us. And we're already here. And we've been here for 60 years in large numbers. Pretty exciting. Listening to you and watching the beautiful geometric pattern snowflakes fall reminded me of the snowflakes are frozen snapshots of the beauty energy we all exist in, making seen what is unseen. Poetry from Brooke of Ohio. Thank you, Vicky, for the super chat. Charlie, and I've got less than 15 minutes left, 10 minutes or so. Also, further research shows that for people having depression and anxiety related to fear of death, that depression, anxiety, and fear can be reduced by hearing stories of near-death experience. Yeah. Listen, there's so many of us. YouTube, everybody's getting interviewed. Listen in. Are you afraid? Does death cause you trouble? Are you grieving? Check out NDE stories. They're all over YouTube. They're at NDERF, Near Death Experience Research Foundation. Links below. Near personal apocalypse. Love it. Oh, thanks. I'm sure I'm way behind in the chat. No, am I? No, I'm not that bad. But I did scroll ahead and I lost my place. Near death. Hey, Alejandro. Nature connecting to itself. I guess I did. I lost my place wherever I was. Oh, well, I'm going to go from here. As for guidance and direction, it comes in my thoughts. Often I know it's not from me, but more often I get images, impressions, or intuitive feelings. That's nice. Images, impressions, intuitive feelings. That's yes. Thank you for the super chat, people, from Primary Feathers and Donato. Thank you, and from Lori too. Laurie says, Thich Nhat Hanh said that the kingdom of heaven can only be found right here in this moment, not after your death. Your thoughts? Yeah, you can be found right here in this moment. It absolutely can be. And after death, it is. I don't think Thich Nhat Hanh has died yet. He'll see for himself. He sees so much now. His transition, he'll discover what he doesn't see here. But the kingdom of heaven isn't like a kingdom. And it's not much like heaven either. Not in concepts, not in ideas. But yes, the eternal now, the eternal oneness, the eternal unmanifested. Thank you, Brooke. Got about 5 minutes left or so. I respect Thich Nhat Hanh, by the way, a lot. But heaven's real. I've been there. Let's see. There we go. I'm back to where I was, more or less. The cause of the crows outside your window adding percussion to my explanation. Yeah, they were right off the door. They're loud. If the mic can pick them up, it's because they're loud. This is a pretty sensitive, localized mic. It only hears what's right in front of it. As for guidance and direction, it comes in thoughts and impressions. I read that one. Do you notice children having more NDEs? I'm not around kids a whole lot, so I don't know. PMH Atwater has a book out about that. I think that probably is happening more than it used to because doctors are more capable of saving lives of children. So I assume logically that it is true, but I don't have that experience. Um, Imagine living your life that whole way. I've met a bunch of kids, adults who'd been kids when they had their NDEs, some who had been babies, that had nothing to compare it to, but except for that they've always lived in this place of love or light or eccentricities. I'll pray for you, Jonathan. I will too. I don't know why I'm praying for you, but I'll pray for you, Jonathan. How can we forgive God for the suffering he puts us through? Well, that's a good question. And when you die, the answer becomes self evident. Either you forgive God by turning to love, or maybe we cling to our pain and stay in that fire. I don't know. All I know is that in my experience, I was also pretty angry at God. But once I died, and love was so overwhelming, there was nothing to forgive, just understanding came and wisdom. I guess you don't have to worry about it. Just forgive yourself. Peter, when you were in direct presence of the all there was, the direct knowing you were not human at all, but overwhelming knowing you are a piece of the source, yes. I had no humanness about me. In the fullness of the divine, no. That is really what changed me the most. You know, as I think about my near death experience, there were so many things that happened in it. My first one, so many things that changed me, but that one thing, I'm never ever able to see myself the way I saw myself before. I can only see myself as not from here, as not really fully human. I inhabit this. This body inhabits me. Thank you for your response about what you hear for God in prayer. I too hear light. Nothing has changed, but everything is somehow different. Nothing has changed. Thank you, Steve. But everything is somehow different. I hear light, and nothing has changed, but everything is different. It's perception change, shift of understanding, shift of perception. It's tactile too. I only got about a minute left, my friends. I want to thank everybody for being here today. Namaste to you all. Peace and love to you all. We've got Mystic TEA Salon at the top of the hour. Thanks for coming today. Had our largest number today is 103. That's the most we've ever had live. I thank you all for spending some of your morning with me and enduring my my techie issues. I swear to God, I'm a tech person. You should see the complex system I have. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe the system is too complex. But I'll master that one little thing next week. Need to add it into my list. So thanks for bearing with me. You get to see my humanity. That's for sure. That's for sure. So, my friends, peace and love to you all. Take a quick look over here again. Course in Miracles is all about forgiveness. See you either next week or at meditation or at Zoom. Peace and love. I'll open the Zoom meeting up ASAP. Peace. Thanks for being here.